Hey boys and girls, it's Boney Joe, it's Pip Boy. We're out here in the yard today. We're working on a new project. We're rebuilding an old table. What we have is the upside down side of a really nice old ceramic tile table. I don't know if you boys and girls can see up under there, can see that tile or not, but what happened was we started using this table as an outside table, and the wood that the ceramic tile's all glued to, well, it just come apart. But as you can see, this table has a really beautiful, really heavy steel base on it. So what we're doing is I'm making some framework for a new metal table, because you know, boys and girls, Boney Joe loves to play with metal. So what we've done here is we drilled some holes in the table, and we put these C-clamps all the way around it strategically so that we could get this piece of flat steel on the table. Can you boys and girls see that piece of flat steel on there? It goes the whole way around, 14 feet of it to be exact. And we use this tool here. This is called a ratchet strap. We're going to go ahead and let that ratchet strap go now. It's not really holding anything. But we use the ratchet strap to get the metal in place. And the C-clamps here to hold it good and tight. And you remember, boys and girls, the C-clamp, we got a bunch of them. Boney Joe still thinks they should be called G-clamps because, well, that sure does look like the letter G, not the letter C. But anyway, so we got our C-clamps all strategically around the table. And we welded right where the two ends come together. You kids can see that right there. So anyway, boys and girls, that's the first part of our new table project. It's going to be something really interesting that Boney Joe and Pip Boy have never done before. So stay tuned for the next part as soon as we get it going. Thanks, boys and girls. Boney Joe, it's Pip Boy. We'll see you soon. Hey boys and girls, it's Boney Joe and Pip Boy. We're back again. We were working on that table. If you remember from the last video, we were making some framework for the table. Well, we got the framework together. Now, what we're working on is a piece of aluminum. Aluminum, we picked it up in the wasteland. We picked up some scrap. We got a nice piece though. And the problem with it is it's just a smidge, We don't even take a measurement, but we'll call it a smidge, maybe 1/8 of an inch of aluminum. Aluminum. Do 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 do. Aluminum. Do 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 do. Aluminum. Do 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 do. Oh, sorry, boys and girls. I got a little lost in some old Sesame Street. You probably wouldn't remember Sesame Street. That was way before most of your times. But anyway, boys and girls, we got this piece of aluminum. It's a little bit too big for what we're doing, so we need to shave off just a skinch. So there's a hole in the middle of it. So what Boney Joe did here is we put a screw in the middle of it. We put it on a piece of wood, but we left just enough hanging over so that it's even with the piece of wood when I grind it to where I need it. So what I'm doing is I'm just turning this real slow and grinding off a little bit. It's kind of noisy, it's kind of messy, and the aluminum dust probably isn't real good for us. So we're going to do a little grinding with our flap wheel. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but the flap wheel. We're going to show a little piece of how we do it here. Aluminum. I don't know how well you boys and girls were able to see that. We'll go in here a little closer on it. Let you see what I'm doing here. I kind of have a real thin pencil line drawn on here, as you can see right here. That little line is what we're trying to grind off, and as you can see right here, that pencil line's gone. So That's what we're doing today, boys and girls. Boney Joe and Pip Boy having a little fun with aluminum. Aluminum. Pip Boy, Boney Joe. We'll be back in a little bit now. Atom bomb, baby, atom bomb. Hey, boys and girls, welcome back to the camp. It's Boney Joe and his pal Pip Boy working on that table. You remember, so we got the framework done, got our piece of aluminum all trimmed, fits down in here tight. What I'm doing right now is I'm taking some measurements with the level. Do you remember working with the level, boys and girls? There's a little bubble in there. I don't know if you can see the bubble or not. But if you look here, when I tilt it, there's a little bubble that rolls back and forth. And see how that bubble's just between them lines? Well, that means it's perfectly level. So we need the table to be level in two directions. Unlike Boney Joe, who's always a little out of kilter, this table needs to be level all the way around, so when we pour our epoxy, which is something we haven't done before, it'll puddle the way we need it to. So right now, boys and girls, I think I got the table just about exact. So we're going to do something a little different now. We're going to set up things, and we're going to run a camera in something called hyperlapse mode, which is kind of like slow motion, so you guys will be able to see me working, but it won't eat up a whole lot of time because I think this is going to be a pretty time-consuming thing. So hold tight. We'll be right back, and we'll do a little hyperlapse of me pouring out epoxy on the table. Well, okay, boys and girls. That was called hyperlapse. What we got to do now, we have our epoxy all poured on the table. I don't know if you can tell or not, but in the epoxy, there's all kind of little teeny tiny air bubbles in it. Now, Boney Joe and Pip Boy, we've never worked with epoxy before, but I was told if you take a torch and heat it up, those bubbles will disappear. Well, look at that. Look at those bubbles just right up here. So we got to go over this whole tabletop and make these bubbles all go away. Because we want our epoxy to dry real hard and smooth. I don't know if you boys and girls can see that or not. So I'm going to get the camera and bring it back down here and see if we can't point it right at it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or you won't. I'm guessing maybe not. Those little bubbles just disappeared. You can see it. It goes from white to clear as soon as that torch hits it. You see that, boys and girls? Oh, I think we can see it a little better now. How about that? So this epoxy that we're using is made just for this kind of work. So what we're going to do here is put you guys back up on top. There we go. But this epoxy is going to have to set for about an hour. And then we're going to come back and we're going to start setting our design on the top. So Boney Joe and Pip Boy, don't forget Pip Boy, while we finish this up, you guys go take a break, and when we come back, we'll start the really, really fun part of what we're doing. You kids have a great time now. We'll see you shortly. Hey boys and girls, it's Boney Joe and Pip Boy. We're back. Our epoxy is just about dry enough to do what we're going to do. Now our idea for this table is to do a mosaic in epoxy, but I'm going to use glass marbles. And glass marbles are basically little round balls of glass. Boys and girls, see these little round balls of glass? And of course these are blue. So they're little blue balls. And I got a whole bucket of little blue balls. I guess it's a tragedy, it might not be, I don't know, but I've always heard that having blue balls is bad. But, hey, I got a whole bucket full of them and I just think they're pretty. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna do the hyperlax thing again. I got me a good old cup, and I'm gonna use the cup, and notice the cup has a P on it. That's for the Pirates. There used to be a thing called baseball. It was real popular in America. And back in the days when baseball was on, the Pirates, they were a good team. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some scoops and I'm gonna spread marbles out on the table here, and I'm gonna create a pattern that we are later going to completely encase in the epoxy, which when it's dry is as hard as stone. So it'll be kind of like having a glass table filled with beautiful little blue balls and different colored marbles in there. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here, set up the hyperlapse, and we're going to lay down some marbles, and you boys and girls can watch. So here we go, all right? Hey boys and girls, back in the garage with Pip Boy and your friend Boney Joe. We're going to put what I think might be the last coating of epoxy on our marble tabletop. Now we've already put 5 coats of epoxy down, 5 hours apart. This is the second day of epoxy pouring. Actually been up since 5 o'clock this morning, so Boney Joe's a little punchy drunk. As you can see, all my blue balls are in there, and my green balls, and my light blue balls, and everything's laid out real nice. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pour our epoxy, and we're going to give it a quick spread out. Not going to do the hyperlapse. We're just going to kind of do it as it does, and let you guys watch Boney Joe walk around in circles, dumping out a little bit of epoxy here. I know you guys will get dizzy. Maybe you won't get dizzy, I don't know. Help if I poured it a little more evenly, I think. But see, with this epoxy stuff, you have to pour it in thin layers, 1/8 of an inch at a time, which is really time consuming considering these marbles are 5/8 of an inch thick. So we need to get enough epoxy down that's going to totally bury them. So like I said, we are on our 6th coat, which is 3/4 of an inch. And this, I think, might be our final coating on the table, which is getting pretty exciting. We're going to grab a little wandy wand here to get all the epoxy out. This epoxy stuff, boys and girls, let me tell you what, it's not as easy to work with as it might look. Of course, Boney Joe makes everything look easy because, you know, Pip Boy's here helping me, and, you know, between the two of us doing everything, it gets stuff done pretty quick. But anyway, this stuff here, any little nook and cranny or crack that you might have, Boy, this stuff leaks through quick. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start spreading out this epoxy. And we need to stay just up above our marbles, because we want the marbles to be totally encased in the epoxy after the process is done. Now, you boys and girls didn't get to see this part, and you certainly are more than welcome to fast forward through it if you want. It does take a little bit of time. You might even be able to hear the sound of the marbles clicking away underneath the little spatula. This is called a spatula. Don't know why. To me, it's a cheap-ass piece of plastic with a bunch of little giblets in it. I don't know if I can say ass on YouTube, but I'm sure people say worse things. I try not to swear because you boys and girls all know that, you know, swearing's just not a good thing. You know, parents swear, people swear, but that doesn't mean it's a good thing to do. But really loading it up on this side, huh, boys and girls? Holy cow. Joe got a little happier on the epoxy on this side of the table. Sure hope my table's not out of level. Boys and girls, we'll have some trouble if everything went out of level on us. Well, anyway, boys and girls, this is going to be our last coating of epoxy, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and shut off the camera. So this isn't a real exciting thing to watch. But we'll get the camera shut off here, and you can get the gist of what I'm going to be doing here. Going to get all this spread out nice and even. Well, we might have to do another coat. We might be good with this coat. But we'll find out soon enough. But anyway, boys and girls, we're going to come back the next time you see us. We're going to have the table all finished and dried and out in the sun, where you're going to be able to get a really good look at what Boney Joe and Pip-Boy created this time. I know this isn't our normal stuff, but we got her done anyway. Anyway, boys and girls, you know we love you. We'll see you once the table's all done. Hey, boys and girls, it's Boney Joe and his friend Pip-Boy. You guys remember Pip-Boy? Say, what's up, Pip-Boy? Listen, guys, we're at the camp. Just like I promised you, we finished our epoxy table. We took almost 100 pounds of marbles, roughly 80 pounds of glass marbles, and buried them in 3/4 of an inch of solid epoxy in our metal framework table. So let's take a look at the finished product, boys and girls. There it is. There is what I'm going to call lost my marbles, although I guess I didn't lose them if they're all right there. But look at all those pretty balls. There's green ones and white ones and light blue and dark blue. Every color balls, all buried in solid epoxy. And I know you boys and girls can't feel this, but this tabletop is just as smooth as glass. Looks like a mirror. And of course underneath, got all that nice metal framework that Boney Joe and Pip-Boy made. And of course the table was all finished in a copper vein powder coat. My buddy Jeff, Prism Powder Coating. Jeff's a great guy. He's over the other side of Aliquippa. He did our powder coat on the table. But everything else was done by yours truly and his pal Pip-Boy. So what do you think, boys and girls? Does this make a great table or what? I sure have had fun making this table. And as always, Pip-Boy and I have a great time working with you, sharing my stuff. Boys and girls, you all take care of each other, love one another, and be good to each other. And most of all, have fun. Boney Joe, Pip-Boy. That's my Pip-Boy pose. See Pip-Boy? He likes to do that. Had a lot of fun. Hope you have too. We'll see y'all again real soon. Yep. Pip-Boy, I think we did a good job on this one, buddy. Yes, we did.